Thank you. So, welcome everyone. Today we're going to have an online meetup about what is Solita Academy. You can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So, a bit about myself. I'm Milena. I'll be your host today. And I started at Solita a bit over a year ago as a data engineer and entered Solita through the Data Academy. And now I'm working also as a data engineer and as a Scrum Master. The previous slide, please. One slide before the agenda.
The slides are coming a little bit behind.
Okay.
I see different than you.
Great. Now we have the agenda. So a bit what we're going to have today. Today you will learn what is Solita Academy and especially about the data and dev academies. And after that, we will have a panel discussion with few of our academy alumni. And then after that, we will have some time for the questions, and then we will finish the meetup by 18:30. And since there's so many participants, if you have any questions during the meetup, please feel free to enter them to the chat, and then we will answer them in the end of the meetup. But before we go to the Solita Academies, I will tell a bit about the Solita. So at Solita, our goal is to create long-lasting impact by utilizing the data and the IT, but also combining it with the human insight. We're now more than 1,500 people in Solita, in Finland, Sweden, Estonia, Denmark, Germany, and Belgium. And we have 6 different business areas that we're working. So we have the software development, strategy, data, design, cloud, and connectivity. And here you can see our values. So our core values are passion, easygoing, caring, and courageous. And these are really something that are visible in our everyday working environment. And that is something I really myself appreciate. Then next about the Solita Academy.
Hi everyone, my name is Ella Ronkainen and I'm coordinating Solita Academies. And briefly, what is Solita Academy about? The first academy was held in 2016, and on average we have 2 times per year academies, one in the springtime and one in the fall time, and the springtime is coming. And Academy is currently held in English, and the English is our main working language here in Solita. And usually we have up to 30 people joining per academy. And usually the induction period lasts about 5 weeks. And right now, the application period for the spring academies has started, and Data Academy application period is open until 8th of January, and the Dev Academy until 5th of February. And what kind of talent we are looking for? These academies are for recent or soon-to-be graduates, usually for the junior professionals on their first or second years of their career, and they already have got some knowledge and skills from their previous work experience. And what kind of talents we're looking for? We really want to see a passion towards the technology and towards the Solita, and the motivation for the competence development. We believe here in Solita the life learning experience and developing your skills all the time. And also you should have some hands-on experience already from your chosen field, and interest in software development, cloud, or data or integrations. And also the courage to speak with customers and be present. And what we can offer for you, we offer the permanent employment since day one. You will start in Solita. Also the competitive salary and Solita's plentiful employee benefits. And the academy time is full-time, but after you can work part-time. Usually it's 4 days per week. And we also offer the workshops, lecturers, and hands-on learning with your academic group. And of course, the meaningful and impactful, exciting projects with different field of customers. And we also want to support your professional growth, and so that you can fulfill the true potential. And what is the Data Academy? We can go forward. Next slide. In the spring, we are going to have 4 different tracks. The data engineer, data visualization consultant, MDM consultant, and integration specialist. I will soon pass the link to the application website where you can read and learn more about these different tracks, and also soon in the panel discussion you will get to know what these different tracks concretely mean. And you can also tell us already in your cover letter which of these tracks you would be interested most, or then you can just apply and we can think about the best track for you later on. And the important dates are that the last day to apply for this is 8th of January, and then the Data Academy will start in 6th of March, and it will be end around in 9th of August. And what is Data Academy content about? There will be different hands-on workshops and lectures. Here you can see the topics covered in the Data Academies. Usually you will study 1 or 2 subjects per day with your academic group, and there is a lot of exercises and hands-on work, and you get the deeper knowledge about these areas. And then you will usually study 3 weeks together with your whole academic group, and then there will be 2 weeks that you will have the deeper knowledge into your track, and after that there will be 1 more week together. And now we have Meri Merkkiniemi online, and she will tell us more about the Dev Academy.
Okay, so hello all. My name is Meri Merkkiniemi. I'm coordinating the Dev Academy. We have also Minna Luiro here. Minna, you could probably waves. Minna
Yes,
is taking care of the academy recruitment. So important person for you as well. Well, anyway, about the Dev Academy. Here are something about the Spring Academy timetables. So the application period is now ongoing, and we will take the applications until the 5th of February. But just for you to know this, that we will already start processing the applications during this time. So we can also make decisions about the recruitments already before the February. But this February date is the like, I would say, absolutely the last day to send your application. And we will invite candidates to interviews based on their CV, so the education and experience that they have, and then the cover letter, which is, we think, you should tell your motivation there. Why do you want to be at Solita? Why do you want to do software development, and why do you want to join the Dev Academy? So it's important. And then we at the Dev Academy expect you to make this pre-assignment. So it is that you can show your coding skills to us. These are the things that we are looking for when we are making the decision about the interviews. And of course, after the interviews, we will make the decision that who of you can join our Dev Academy and our Solita team. We will start the Dev Academy in March, around 15th of March. So that's around the date that your employment would start. Just a little note here that although we work very much remotely, and there are a lot of possibilities to work remotely, in the academy time, it would be useful that you'd be in some of the cities we have the office in, so you get to know the people at the Solita office and have the mentors and support from the office, people at the office. So this is why I listed these cities here. So the main offices are in Helsinki, Oulu, Tampere, Lahti, and Turku, and then we have some these kind of light offices in other cities as well. But anyway, remote working afterwards, after the academy, and also during the academy is possible, but it's good to like be near the offices, so you get all the real support. What would you in the Dev Academy? The Dev Academy means that you will start your employment at Solita with this kind of a training period, but you will be a full Solita employee from the first day. So it means that you're like first Solita employee and kind of a second Solita academian. So you will be getting all the employment benefits and salaries from the day one. And this is actually what Ella already told you. When after the academy period or the training period, you will move on to customer projects as well as other Solita employees. So this is like more of a intensive onboarding to the world of software development and Solita consulting. Sorry, my dogs are having some kind of a meltdown here. So in the academy, we will have some workshops and lectures, and they are mostly held by other Solita employees. So we will like share the knowledge from the more senior Solitans to the Dev Academians. And here are some of the things that we will be going through. So there are like how to work as a consultant, what is involved in the project management, what kind of things related to programming and coding and technologies that you probably know something about, but then we will look at them from the Solita point of view. And actually a lot of the things, or the main point probably, is that we will be sharing a lot of knowledge from each other and from the more senior Solitans, and then have a lot of discussions. So you get to know the ways of working and a little bit deepen your knowledge and like slide into the customer work softly, I would say. Well, this is the Dev Academy in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you, Ella and Mary. Please enter still the questions to the chat if you have something. There is Ella and Mary maybe can answer those already, or we can go through them in the end. But now it's our panel time. So we have awesome alumni Pauliina, Veera, and Juho. So first, please introduce yourself.
Sure, I can go first. So my name is Pauliina Mäkilä. I joined Solita in March through the Data Academy, and currently I work as a data engineer for a public sector customer. Maybe you, Veera, would like to continue?
Yeah, sure. I'm Veera Pohjola, and I started at Solita 2.5 months ago, so in October, in the Fall's Data Academy, and I was in the integration specialist track. And then Juho can continue.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Juho, and I'm a software designer, and I'm based in Tampere. And I started the Dev Academy last fall, or this fall, but it started in this October. And in Solita I started last May, so I was here a little bit before that.
Great. Maybe now we can close the slides and focus on the actual panel discussion. Thank you. So I would like to start with the question, how did you land to Solita Academy? And maybe Veera, do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, I had previously been working for 5 years at a company, but for the last 3 years I was doing mostly like administrative work, so I was not doing any like coding or anything, and I wanted to shift back to hands-on work. So and I was interested in integrations because I had been part in a few integration projects. So then I applied to the integration specialist track and also participated in this meeting in the summer, and then I was selected in August.
Great to hear. How about
I can
Juho?
maybe continue. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Pauliina.
Yeah, I was about to continue since I have some similarities to Veera in how I landed to Solita, since I also already had worked a few years and through work I kind of got involved with reporting and data. And after working with Power BI for a couple of years, I really wanted to know like what happens before the data lands to my table, and it wasn't possible for me to learn that at the company I worked at before. So Solita kind of provided me this huge land of opportunities where I could develop the things that I wanted to learn.
So have you now learned what happened?
I have. I very much have.
Nice to hear. How about you, Juho?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't apply directly to the academy. So I started as a summer trainee here in Solita. So I worked in an internal web development project for the summer. And then I wanted to continue working part-time. So we agreed to that. And then I started at the academy because I needed to learn some consulting skills before going to a customer project, because I'm very much a new developer and I didn't have much experience before this. So yeah, then I started in the academy this fall.
How did you find Dev Academy after you have like worked it sometimes in Solita already?
Well, we actually had a discussion with my people lead, which is like a people's manager here in Solita. So he suggested that I would go to the Dev Academy after my summer traineeship. And yeah, I think it was really good because there's some skills that it's good to have before starting in a customer project. And I haven't done any IT consulting before this, so it's been a good experience.
Could you maybe specify like one skill that you would say that really like sticked in your mind?
Well, specifically to the IT consulting, there's been like project management workshops and stuff like that, and also some soft skill trainings, which I think are specifically good for the consulting side. But of course, there's been like technical stuff as well.
I'm still asking from Juha one thing about the technical like skills. Did you have a lot like early, like before some experience about the technical skills that were then like learned during the Dev Academy?
Well, most of my skills are from university. I'm in my 5th year and I'm in my master's phase of the studies, so I had some background from there, but not from a job really. I've done some traineeship before this in software testing, so that's pretty much all of the job side of things. But yeah, not that much experience. I think I've learned a lot during the academy.
That's great to hear. How about then in Data Academy, Veera and Paulilla, what was maybe one thing that you could point out that was left in your mind after the academy?
Well, at least for me, I would also agree with Juho that the consulting skills workshop was really good, because I also hadn't been doing any consulting work before. I was just doing in-house work. So it was really beneficial to learn, and really like, because we went through like what to do with different kind of cases with the customer, or if the customer is acting like this, then how should you respond? So I think it was really beneficial to like get that kind of side, because that's something that really is not taught anywhere, but you just have to know it somehow. So I think it was really good to have that kind of workshop as well.
Yeah, I didn't really have, like, it's so nice to hear how the academies develop, like, since me and Veera did the academy this year, but I didn't have any this kind of consulting skills. At least I don't remember this kind of training, so it's really nice to hear how the academies develop from time to time. I think for me, something that really kind of what I really liked, well, obviously you learn a lot about the tools that you're gonna use in your projects. So that was nice. It kind of skips the onboarding to the tools. But I kind of very warmly remember the people. And we were about 20 people. There were 4 of us in Tampere. And it was so nice that we were all like equally lost at the same time, if you could say so. Like, you know, in the beginning, like whatever you do, like set up your computer or have some errors in installing software or whatnot, you always had people like around you with the same problem that you could chat with. And also it already gave you this huge, kind of a big network of people from day one. Like we went into like an annual data units spring party after maybe 2 weeks of academy, and we made jokes that, okay, like we know 20 people here, so we probably know more people here than most of the attendants. So you can kind of instantly get this network, and then after people spread out to different projects, they start to have different kind of specialization tracks and whatnot, like in the projects. So you then have 20 people you can ask about, have you used this tool? How does it work? Have you faced this kind of problems? What kind of solutions did you have? So I would say the best part definitely was the people.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think my favorite days during the academy were those where we traveled to Helsinki, like everyone that could. Then we would have like a live workshop or something, and then we would have lunch together, and it creates a lot more discussion and stuff like that when everyone is actually seeing each other live. And yeah, I think it was a great way to connect with other people that are in a kind of a similar phase in their careers.
I have to also agree. Like I also like that the people like we were starting together, and we also at the Fall Tampere Academy we had 9 people, and we were almost always at the office, like in some meeting room together and listening to the lectures, and then went lunch together and still go lunch together. And then also the trips to Helsinki were really nice. I remember we were like coordinating the train seats, that okay, I sit here and then please reserve your seats like near here, so we will sit like at the same place. So yeah, the people were definitely like the really nice part of the academy.
Yeah, and I would even extend it like beyond just the academians. Like I felt like the academy participants, like we got a lot of info sessions and trainings that I know that if you join outside academy, that you don't necessarily get those, since it's different for a unit leader to come talk to 20 or 25 people than to have a chat with like individuals here and there. And also I felt like the academy was a really easy way to introduce yourself to other Solitans that you met. Like if you meet like people at the office, it was kind of like, oh, hey, I'm Pauline, I'm from the academy. And people, since people know what it is, they're instantly like, oh, hey, how has it been? And all this. So it was kind of like really easy to integrate to the office and to the company.
So
sorry if I went
hear.
a bit
So,
sidetrack.
no, it was so lovely to hear those like heart memories from your academy. Do you have any other like memories you want to share from the academy time?
Well, I could say about the like technical stuff that I learned, that the workshops and the lectures were really good at like introducing, acting as a like introduction to the topics that developers need in their work. And of course, like one day workshop doesn't make you an expert yet, but it gave like a good overview of what the stuff you will probably need while you're working in a customer project. And with the, like, for example, web development project. But then we also have this practice project that we're doing during the academy and after it, where you have a mentor, and the mentor is like a more senior developer. And then you like pick a technology stack and create a web service or a web application that has some specific specifications, and then the mentor helps you with the project. And I think that has been the most like in-depth learning experience. And I think like in total it's a good package.
How about Veera? Any other memories?
Yeah, well, I like that when we had those training days in Helsinki when we were like all together as the academy, because like some people were of course in Helsinki, some people were in Tampere, some were in Turku, and some all around Finland. So I think it was really nice to like see everyone face to face and chat with each other and like see new people and of course the Helsinki office and everything. But also I also like the workshops, especially the Azure workshop. I think it was really nice in the Data Academy because it was like really tightly packed, but you really got like much out of it. So it was like even if you didn't know anything about Azure before that, then you really knew the basics regarding data after that workshop. So I think that was something that really like is still in my mind.
Yeah, I could probably say the same about the Agile Data Engine days that we had, like a few very intense days where you get to work with a tool that, well, it was new to all the academians, but you know, with a new tool, you get to kind of do a sort of a trial case with it as if you would work with a customer data. So then when you go into a project, you already know, like, you have some idea of how the tool works. Kind of course, there are like more complexity when it gets to a real customer project, but at least you know your way around.
Great. Now that you shared some like specific memories, what would you say that is your like overall experience of like afterwards? How did you felt? Maybe Vera, do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, I think that after the academy, I was like ready to do some project work. So even though I hadn't like in practice made like much regarding integration before, I felt that I have the support and the people that I can ask and like the base after that. So I really think that it was good because like before someone mentioned that you get like all these courses that you maybe wouldn't normally get, like depending on your role. But after the academy, you know that you have like all the basic courses, you have completed them and you have the basic knowledge. So you don't have to think that am I missing something or was there some training that I have still to take or something. So it's like, okay, the academy is now over and I'm ready to do like some project work. So I think it was really like beneficial to prepare me to work at the project.
Good. How about Juha?
Well, as I said about the technology side, I think it's like a very good package of both, like introducing skills to like a new IT consultant or a web developer, or yeah, and also like I got the very nice connections from many different offices, so I think that's another like big great part. So yeah, I also feel like I'm ready to take on a customer project now, although I'm still waiting for one, but but yeah, the like my academy just ended, so
Go for it, Pauliina.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, how did I felt after the academy? It feels like so long ago, even though it isn't. I think kind of reflecting back to the spring now, what I really like is that since during the academy, we kind of went through the whole data pipeline and kind of happens in what phases, like from the source to a report. So now when I'm doing a task, even if it lands like to my table without much context, I kind of have an understanding of where in this pipeline, where does it land, and kind of what happened before it and what will need to happen after I complete the task. So I kind of have sort of like an architecture of how things work, and I can, whenever I'm doing something, I can kind of put it on a map and consider what happened before and what happens next. And I think that really improves the quality of my work.
Nice to hear. I think you're all agreeing to that after the academy you are quite ready to do the actual project work. So it's nice to hear. About the questions that are popping into the chat, I can see there's a lot of questions coming. I'm trying to scroll them and picking some of them like to ask now, and then we will go maybe some of them in the end of the whole meetup. But there is one interesting question that I also wanted to ask. How was the transition from academy to the real projects?
Who starts? I can start. Well, for me, my academy just ended, so I'm waiting for a customer project. But there's the practice project that we got in the Dev Academy. So I'm currently finishing that, and then soon I will go to a customer project.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I think it was pretty smooth. So, like mentioned earlier, there is like 3 weeks of the Common Academy, then 2 weeks about the track, and then 1 week at the end. So I was like studying the technology related to the project the 2 weeks that I had the track time, and then already in the week where we had like the Common last week, I was like having an introduction to the project. So it was like academy ended and then the project started. So it was quite smooth, but I didn't feel like I'm in a hurry, but it was like kind of smooth that the academy work was diminishing and then the project induction was like increasing. So I think it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I bet that's probably like the ideal situation. I had a bit of a different story. I had to wait for a project for quite a few weeks. There were some where I was kind of I was meant to be part of the project team, but a couple of offers didn't go through, so the projects didn't start. So it took like a few rounds for the sales and resourcing to get a project through, and then I started in a project kind of right before summer holidays. So the summer was maybe a bit quiet, and then full steam in the autumn. But the time between the academy and the project is used on self-studying. Many people maybe complete some certificates. I didn't get that far, but I studied, for example, Snowflake quite a bit during that time, and also was involved in some RFP preparation and things like that. Yeah, but a bit of like a quiet time between the academy and the project.
How did you felt the time that you weren't like straight ahead going to the project?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't mind as much. I was like full of energy, learning some new technologies, and kind of always excited when something was like, okay, we're gonna try and get you into this project. But then after maybe a few times, I felt a bit down, since kind of it makes you kind of feel like, is there something wrong with me? Why don't I get a project? But no, there's nothing wrong with the people who don't get to start in a project right away. It's just sometimes if there's like 20 academians graduating at the same time, it's really hard to for all of them to have a project that starts like Veera's did. So I kind of tried to think that it's not my fault and it will come when it comes, and try to stay positive and develop myself.
Nice. Then there's a question about like the usual work that the consultants do. So I will maybe like try to form this question. How would you describe your everyday working days? Or what is a normal working day that you do?
I can maybe start. Well, in my project, there is actually not that much, at least in my part, communication with the customer, because I'm still doing the practice task. So it's more of an internal task related to the project, because it's kind of big project. So I really like that I can like start small and then go bigger. So right now my days are usually that I will join the daily, which is usually around 10 o'clock. And then I will continue with my task. So gather some information from the documentation and from the source code, and then continue it, and then go to lunch, and then some more of that task, and then go to coffee break with the academians, and then do the task again, and then the day is finished. So kind of, I wouldn't say monotone because I like it, but of course it can sound like I don't have much variance. But of course, if I wanted to, I could also study some courses. But right now I want to focus on the project.
Yeah, well, I also start my days with a daily that we have at 9 o'clock. And I usually have, let's say, 1, 2, 3 features that I'm working at a time. So my days might have some meetings that relate to those, either internal or with the customer. For example, some weekly status meetings, or if we are working on, let's say, a new reporting solution, there might be like definition meetings or stuff like that. And then there is the kind of actual work or the tasks that I do around those features to get them done. I'm a data engineer with quite a wide span of tasks. So I might one day be working on Azure Data Factory pipeline to get the data from a source to our staging area, and then the next day be working on a Power BI report to finalize some visualizations or filter selections or whatnot. So kind of depending on what features I'm working on, I will do some of the tasks along the pipeline to get to the final report. And I'm quite involved with the customer, our product owner, who prioritizes our work. He is from the customer side, so he's always present on our dailies. And then whenever I have questions about the data or about the reporting solutions, quite often there is a customer involved. So it's, but it's very kind of, we try to keep it quite easygoing and low key. So we have teams, groups where we chat with the customers. So it's kind of like this continuous communication that you would have with your project team, but then you also have it with the customer. Yeah, I think that kind of describes, I don't know, if a typical day, at least a typical week.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can really answer the consultant part because I'm not in a customer project yet, but for me, the typical day, now that the academy ended and I'm still waiting for a customer project, is that I'm doing this practice project, and it means that I'm learning a completely new backend technology. So that means that I have to read a lot of documentation and do some training about that, and then like make features to the practice project. And yeah, I work 3 days a week, and then I have 2 days for studies. So that's my typical week. And with my mentor for the practice project, we have dailies. So we check up on how's the project going, and the mentor is working in a project with the same technology stack. So that means that I can ask a lot of questions, which is very nice.
Great, thank you. I have a specific question for Pauliina. Did you knew any CQL or ETL process before the academy? As you said that you already knew Power BI. Had you used Power Query a lot?
Well, if I go in order, I knew some SQL. I'd used kind of quite basic level SQL for maybe, I don't know, 4 months before joining Solita or something. So I knew some. I kind of had a high level understanding of the ETL process, but I hadn't used any of the tools like AWS or Azure. And I had used quite a lot of Power Query and M language, since in my previous company, we didn't have a SQL-based data warehouse until just for a short time when I worked there. So I quite often would connect my Power BI to the source system and then do any modifications in the Power Query.
Thank you. Keep the questions coming. There's some questions in general about the academy things, so we will go through them in the end also with Mary and Ella. But I would like to ask, there was also a question here that what kind of tools are you using in your work now? So could you list those?
Well, I think I can go first since I already discussed these a bit. So in my project, we have Azure Data Factory. We have the ADE or Agile Data Engine for the data vault part, and then Power BI for the reporting layer. And we also use the Azure DevOps for how do you call it, to organize and manage our work and to support our dailies and feature management.
Maybe I can continue. Well, we use Git, and then I use Visual Studio Code, and then Jenkins, and then there is this integration software called MuleSoft that I hadn't used before, so I learned it during the academy. And then, well, I don't know. There is currently not that many technology or tools that I'm using, but at least those are the ones that I use daily.
Yeah, for me, I'm doing backend in Spring for the practice project and React for front end, and then I have a testing pipeline set up in GitHub. No hosting in cloud for this project, but yeah, maybe at some point I will work with some cloud technologies as well, most likely. Although I don't really have any much experience in that yet. But yeah, what else? I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting something, but those are the biggest things.
Juho, also a question for you again about the Dev Academy. What kind of a technical skills did you learn, and did you focus on specific programming language?
Well, I guess I focused on specific programming languages, and it's those that I just mentioned because of the practice project. That's like a part of the academy, and new skills that I learned, or was it technologies that I learned? The question.
Yes, technical skills.
Well, I was mainly using MongoDB as a database in my studies, but now I've been learning a lot about SQL, and that we had like a workshop about that during the academy. So I guess I've really learned a lot more about relational databases. And we actually had this interesting cybersecurity workshop as well, where we learned about some attacks against web applications. So that gave some new perspectives, I think, on how to think about the security side. But yeah, there was some already familiar stuff and new stuff during the academy, and I think that was good.
Great. You mentioned about the pre-assignment. There was also a question about that. So could you describe it and how did it went from your side?
Well, I actually didn't do the pre-assignment that the people that applied straight to the academy did. So I can't really comment on that because I applied while I was already working in Solita in a internal project. So I went straight from there to the academy.
Okay. Then we will come back to that later on. How about you said that you're like in between, like you could say, the project, but what kind of resources do you have then for the learning since you're now in the learning process?
Yeah, well, most of my learning has come from the practice project because I'm actively developing it right now. But once I've completed that, I think the next step, if I still don't have a customer project yet, would be to do a certificate, maybe about the cloud technologies, for example. So I could learn that. I think that would be a nice skill to have because most of the projects are in cloud nowadays, I think. So yeah, there's the certificates you can do, and there's also some company internal trainings then that you can do, and that is made by Solitans to other Solitans. There's quite a lot to learn.
How about Pauliina and Veera, would you like to add some kind of resources that we have in Solita for learning?
Well, I can add that there are many study groups like, for example, if you're studying for Azure certificates, there are many study groups for that. I haven't personally studied in those, but I know that many people from my academy are studying for the certificates, and they have been talking about the study groups. So, and I think that they have like really benefited from them. So that's at least one thing. And then, well, in the integration community, regarding the MuleSoft application that I'm studying and using, we have this kind of beginners sessions, like internal beginner sessions. I think it's every week or bi-weekly, so that there will be like senior people on the line, and then we juniors can just join the meeting and ask if we have anything like, how do you do this, or why is this not working, or I have a problem, and then they will be like, okay, let's go through this together. So I think that's really like good, because even if I don't have a problem and I join that meeting, I will learn from the others that, okay, don't do that. And okay, that was the problem with this one. So I think those are good as well.
How about Paulina? What kind of a learning resources have you found good?
Well, I've already utilized, we have like internal learning platform where you can find different kind of courses on a lot of topics, both like soft skills, but then also like technologies. And I also attended quite a few like info sessions, like we do like peer-to-peer info sessions. If someone is interested in some topic or just kind of has like 30 minutes to talk about something, they can keep like an info session and anyone can join. And I've also used, we have this O'Reilly platform where you can find electronic books and different kind of videos and courses. I've utilized that quite a bit, especially for books, since it's not always easy to get your hands on a physical book, even though we do have this company library, whatnot. But and one more good resource is the a lot of the tools and technologies we have, they have their own Slack channel. So you have like a community you can turn to. I have had quite a few questions about, for example, the Agile data engine that I mentioned, when I'm like, exactly as Vera said, like, why does it do this? Like, how do I solve this? Or is this a bug or whatnot? So then we have Slack channels you can turn to. And of course, like you have your project team. My team, we are about 10 people, I think. We're quite a big team. Some of us are juniors, some are seniors. So of course, already in your project, you have learning resources in a sense that you can see how things are done, how other people do things. You can ask about pretty much anything. And at least I find that in this big team that we are, people have different specialization areas. Like someone knows everything about the data vault, someone knows everything about the Azure anything. I maybe know Power BI best, so then we can also teach each other. We have this couple of times a week meetings with our project data engineers, and usually someone brings a topic of they think that others might be interested in, or we solve a problem that someone has, since there's a lot of power in the community and the hive mind.
Great. So nice to hear. This is also a big part of our culture, the learning. So we have many resources for that. But I think we can end this panel discussion with the question that, do you have any tips for applying the academy? Or Vera, would you like to start?
Well, yeah, I actually discussed about this topic today at the coffee break with a few of the academians, and I asked them that what would be tips that you would give, or what do you think that would like help in the process? And we came to the conclusion that if you have something related to the track or whatever you are applying for example, a thesis or something that you have done that is relevant, then definitely mention it and link it. Or if you have some kind of industry experience from the industries that Solita has customers, definitely mention that.
Yeah, I think at least for students, I could say that for me, it's been kind of easy to like do studies and the academy at the same time. So you don't really have to stress about that too much nowadays, especially since you can maybe watch some lecture videos and stuff like that. So if that's something that's bothering or like a thought that you're having, well, for me, it's been a nice experience. And yeah, when you're applying, I think it's at least for the Dev Academy as well, it's good to show if you have some projects that you have been working on. At least for me, when I applied to the summer traineeship, I think there was some application assignment as well, but they actually we agreed to that I show one of my earlier practice projects that I had been doing on my own, and like then I didn't have to do the assignment. I don't know if that applies to the academy application, but I think in these applications they really value if you have some like personal projects, or at least that you can demonstrate some interest in some technologies. And you don't have to be an expert, but if you have like a web project that you have been doing, then that's good because you can like demonstrate that you're at least able to work with these technologies.
I think I would maybe add to that don't be afraid to show your persona. Like I think I started my application with I want to be a unicorn. Well, I went ahead and explained what I meant by it, but I kind of want to imagine that may be caught at someone's eye. But kind of, yes, it's good if you know the tools and know something about the technologies. But I kind of feel that tools are easy to teach to people, but it's really hard to teach like motivation or how to be a good colleague. So I would say kind of let your persona shine through and kind of make your motivation clear. Like, why do you want this? Yeah, those would be my tips.
A lot of tips. Then, Meri, I would ask you to share again the slides and ask also Ella, Meri, and Minna to join the QA so I can read more questions, maybe generally to applying or the academies. We have all that. So next we will go to the QA. So still enter the questions to the chat, but I will start to go through the other questions that we didn't go through in the panel. There's a question regarding the languages. Does Solita require Finnish language skills for customer projects?
I can take this question. We do have customers here in Finland that requires also a Finnish language, but you can also work as a consultant here in Solita without speaking Finnish. We also have international customers, and it's okay if you are not fluent in Finnish.
Great, thank you, Ella. Then there's a question regarding the relevant experience. For instance, if a candidate has worked or studied Python embedded C but has no knowledge, for example, at CQ, is the academy a good place to learn from the scratch?
I could probably take this one. So it really depends. We, of course, at Solita and in our dev unit, we have certain technologies that we use a lot in our projects. So it's it depends really much on the situation, about the whole your experience, what you have, and what technologies you have, and what kind of projects we have going on at the moment. But I'd say the academy isn't the best place to start learning everything from the scratch. Of course, there can be some part of or some technology that you can pick up from the academy, like Juho told about the SQL, that he had learned the basics there and then move on to working with the SQL. So it's like you get some basic knowledge, something that adds to your previous knowledges and stuff like that, but it probably isn't the best place to start everything from the scratch, as I would say.
Thank you, Mary. I will try to stay updated what questions are answered. There was some questions regarding the people amount that are accepted. It was mentioned that 10 to 30 people was accepted per academy, but how do you decide the amount of it?
Well, I can answer from the Dev Academy point of view first, maybe. So it depends on the applicants, how many good candidates do we have, and also it depends on the situation in Solita, that how many people we see that we can have projects for in the good period of time. So it has varied from 10 to 20 people, I'd say 15 most of the time. So it isn't a fixed number, but we decided along the way when we're making the recruitment, and we are also having all the time the discussion with our staffing, who know best how many people we can have in projects.
Thanks, Mary. And for the Data Academy, it's basically the same. Last time we had 23 Data Academians last fall, but it will depend on the customer need and also the candidates who applied for the Data Academy.
Great. Then about the background other than IT, do you value the experience, for example, from a field you would be doing projects to?
I guess I can take this as well. So of course we do value experience from the field as well. So if we're talking about the Dev Academy, it's also good for persons who are junior in the developer careers doesn't mean that you have to be junior in your age or just a recent graduate. So I think it's always valuable if you have experience from some other field as well. And we have had a lot of dev academians who are like changing their careers towards the software development.
Yes, same for the Data Academy. We, of course, value all the previous knowledge and skills from different field, and sometimes it's advantages when you work with a specific customer project.
Thank you. Then maybe still question to the panelists, or also if Ella or Mary want to answer, but do you work together or get peer support from other junior developers, for instance, who studied in the same Dev Academy with you?
Well, at least I have talked specifically about the Spring framework that I use with another Dev Academian who is also using that. So yes, there's some peer support. I think there's quite a low barrier to ask someone who was in the same academy. So I would do that again with some other subject to some other academian.
Yeah, I would say the same, that I'm really in close contact with the other integration specialists that we were at the academy together, and also talking about, like, because he has a different technology than I do, but then so do you also have this in your technology, or what do you think about this? And it's like, even if we don't have the same technology, we can also learn that, okay, so there exists this kind of technology or this kind of method. So I think that's really good, and also to hear from the other tracks, like what they do, so you get like more knowledge of the different technologies that different titles use.
Yeah, totally agree. Like I've had some little sparring sessions with some of the academians I went to the academy with, where we just kind of someone has a problem at hand, and then the other one maybe can bring in something that the other person or the other person's project team didn't think about. So that's been real nice. And also with my academy group, we formed an organizational team. So we have a same team lead. So in that sense, we are also in quite close contact and shared knowledge with each other, and kind of we're constantly learning, like, who knows what the best and who you can turn to.
Yeah, after the academy, some people have gone to customer projects that might have some specific floor or something. So maybe we don't work like next to each other, but then in the coffee rooms we can ask stuff, or coffee breaks in the coffee area.
Thank you. Mary or Minno, would you like to share about the pre-assignment that you have in the Dev Academy? There's some questions going on in the chat also about that, but would you like to share something here also?
Well, I can say a few words if Minna, you don't necessarily want to.
You can say.
Yeah. So we have the pre-assignment. It's like we want to see how you code, and we from the pre-assignments we can really we get more information from them, to, like, in addition to the CV and the motivation letter. So it's a task for you to make this kind of a biking app, and we would like to see how you do the front end and also how you do the back end. Of course, we realize that everybody isn't like full stack developers at this moment, but we like to see what you can do with the task that we are given to you. And then we have our senior developers seeing your pre-assignments, and they are giving their comments that this was done greatly, and maybe there's something to learn about the backend side of things or stuff like that. So we really can get the grasp of how you can code and what level are your coding skills in from the pre-assignment. So it's a really good way. For example, we can have some applicants who have already worked in the software development for like a couple of years. They already have the skills and they are really good, probably at least in some technologies. But then we can have some people that are more junior, like graduating from the school, or even people who don't have official haven't made any official studies in software development, but they are self-taught and they have made the pre-assignment really well. They have like really excellent solutions there, and we have taken those people to the academy as well. So it's like one way to show you. You can show us what do you really know and what can you really do with the coding, even if you don't have any official education.
Great. There's coming a lot of questions. We might not have the time for all of them, but there was one interesting still, at least, that what are the most challenging thing in Data Academy in your opinion? And this was maybe more to the people that went through the Data Academy. And also there's a second question regarding that, what is the most favorite thing or subject or tool that you liked most in Data Academy? Would Vera want to start?
Okay, yeah. Well, I think for me, the most challenging part was the SQL and Snowflake part, because I didn't have that much experience about it before. I had written like a few queries, simple queries. So it was a bit challenging, but the workshop was really good about SQL. And my favorite subject in Data Academy was definitely the DevOps and CI/CD lectures. So I really looked forward to them, and I really like those subjects.
I think for me, the most challenging was have had this 2 days with Python, since I'm one of those people who don't have the studies in information technology or such. And when I did my programming courses at university, we had C++. So I'd only like briefly touched Python for web scraping. So it was quite new to me. And also we used the Pandas library. And that was like totally new to me. So those were the most challenging 2 days. I would like to say of my entire life, but that's maybe a bit too much. But of the academy at least. And my favorites were probably, well, Power BI, since I already had quite strong skills on that. But then also the Agile Data Engine training days, just because of how well the training was organized. And now that I've seen the tool in action in real life, I realize how much it makes my life easier. So it kind of makes me appreciate that training even more.
Great, thank you. Then there's also a question regarding that compared to the people that are chosen to the Solita Academy and people to the like working in Solita. Do you see any differences? Juha, do you want to start?
Oh, yeah. So people who have applied to academy versus straight to some position.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think the academy is specifically for people that are in the beginning of their career, whether it's data or development. And I would guess that most of the open positions outside of the academy is people who have more experience. So there's that. I don't know any specifics because I'm not an HR person, but yeah, the people in the Dev Academy were people that had like maybe a few years of experience and people that were straight out of university that didn't have experience and people that were career changers. So quite a variety of people, but we were all in the beginning of our careers.
Yeah, I would also maybe add that in Data Academy, at least in this fall, there were also quite many people who had changed careers. So they had already quite experience from some other industry or field, for example, finances, but it was like the beginning of their data career. So I don't know about Solita's normal hires, but I would guess that the amount of people who have some prior experience to some other field might be a bit higher.
Yeah, and if I may add, what I felt, in my experience, what I found is that no matter if Solita hires people through the academies or kind of in a regular job ad, I feel like the Solitan values are something that is common to everyone. Like no matter if it's academy or regular hire, I felt like Solita is very picky in a sense that the people who are hired, that they share the Solitan values. I think that's something that's all hires have in common.
Good. Thank you. I will think we will now stop answering the questions, but if there is still some questions, you can ask them in the chat and we will try to answer them there. But Mary, would you like to share again the slides? So we have here Mariella and Minna. So here is the contact of them also. So if you have more questions, you can also put straight email to them. And do you have, Mary or Ella, something to add still?
Well, I would like to say that thank you all. Yeah, thank you all for listening, and please ask if you have any questions, and please read the instructions in the job ad. I think we tried to put everything there, and we also have the internet, the web page for the academy, so there are a lot of information there. You can find it in the job ad. So there should be quite a lot of information in the internet. How do I say it? But anyway, you can always ask. And please do. We will help you.
Yeah, and I also like to mention that there are those couple of blog post links in the Dev Academy job ad that I really recommend to read before you do the pre-assignment, because you get the tricks and tips from the blog posts. So check the job ad carefully.
Absolutely, the blog posts are really written to help the future academians to apply. So there are good tips.
Thank you from my behalf as well. And like said, we have a lot of information in our Data Academy website also, but if you cannot really find the information from there or from the questions and answers part, you can always contact me and ask more details about the Data Academy. And it was so nice to see so many of you joining today. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, a lot of good questions, a lot of thank you for your activity. It was really nice. And I hope you also received some information from this one. And the next slide, please, Mary, so we can finish this session with the thank you. So thank you all for the panelists and of course for Minna and Ella and Mary and all the participants. And I wish you a very nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.